Hey everyone, Heather here, and for today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the antagonist in Final Fantasy XIV that probably left the biggest impression on me. I would say they are the scariest. I honestly felt physical manifestations of emotions whenever this character would come on screen. Like, just fury of, you know, when your stomach turns because you're so angry, or your stomach sinks because you just feel so bad, that like secondhand embarrassment. Even out loud, I would say like, oh my gosh, like I just feel bad. I really do think that they are the most tragic antagonist, and I'm super curious, just based off of how I described them, if you think you know who it is. So at this point in the video, I don't know, we're 30 seconds, 1 minute in, let me know in the comments who you think I'm talking about and whether you actually get it right, because I'm going to tell you who it is. But before I tell you who it is, I'm going to give you a spoiler warning so that in case you are not this far in the game, you can come back and watch this video later when you catch up. So this antagonist is not in A Realm Reborn. They're not in Heavensward. They're not in Stormblood, but they're in Shadowbringers. I think that pretty much gives it away. So if you have not played all the way through to the end of Shadowbringers, this is your spoiler warning. Feel free to come back. To me, the antagonist that was the most chilling is Lord Vothri. Whenever I meet a new protagonist or antagonist in a story that I'm invested in, I'm always skeptical, right? Like, what's this person's deal? With Lord Vothri, I was really like, just, who is this guy? Because of the story of Shadowbringers, where we're not even in Eorzea. We are in a completely different world. Honestly, that kind of threw me for a loop because again, I'm so invested in Eorzea and Hydaelyn and the world that we had built thus far, and then to just be transported to a completely different world with new enemies and characters, and like everything is different. And then we meet Lord Vothri, and you know, when we first meet him, we get that impression of like, okay, this is probably the big baddie. It just felt like, I guess, nothing up until this point matters. And of course, that's not true if we play through the whole thing. But that was where I was coming from when we are introduced to Lord Vothri. And then I'll never forget watching the very first scene where we see him, because there's a lot of buildup. There's a lot of like, you know, Alphinaud's in this weird city, this city that's like unlike any other place in Norvrant. He's trying to do his like, you know, political plea thing. He's trying to talk to the people on the inside, and there's just all this like hype around Eulmore, and there's this weird class system. They've designed this paradise and all of this, and then when we finally get into Eulmore and then meet Lord Vothri, I'm just like, oh my gosh, of course this is the epitome of everything that this society stands for. And he's really just right? Like I get this like creepy feeling looking at him, because when you first meet him, he's just throwing temper tantrums. He's, you know, super self-indulgent. Thinks he's a god, and in a world that is on the brink of collapse, here he is living in luxury, and it's just disgusting. Like, everything about it is just like, ugh. So immediately my first impression is, yeah, Lord Vothri is, it's very clear that this is the bad guy. It's very clear, like, this is the evil that we have to overcome. I was really skeptical in terms of like, what backstory could Lord Vothri possibly have that I would feel any kind of connection to, right? Like, it's just, to me, it was so obvious among my first impression of him, of like, I can see how you got here, but like, I have no pity for you. We just need to, you know, you are in the way of us saving this world, and we need to deal with you. And like, I don't want to see you anymore. But of course, the more we learn about Norvrant, the First, Lord Vothri, the Ascians, like everything in the story that is Shadowbringers, The only feeling I have for Lord Vothry is pity. That's it. I just feel just so much pity for Lord Vothry. And I think the reason why he stands out to me so much and why he leaves so much of an impression is because with the other antagonists in Final Fantasy XIV, I feel like they know what they're doing. They have a plan, and through whatever powers that they have, whether it's like primals or straight up manipulation or armies or whatever, you know, they have an agenda and they're just gonna do their thing. With Lord Vothry, I feel like it wasn't his goal. It's not his agenda. That was pushed onto him at birth. So literally his entire reality from the very moment that he existed, he was told that he was a savior, and he has this superpower that nobody else has because he can, you know, control the Sin Eaters, and you know, his dad is telling him how special he is. The entire, you know, the city that they live in, every citizen is worshiping him. Like, from the moment that he can have conscious thought, this is the environment that he grew up in. So like, it's like before you even are able to have opinions of your own, this is what your world is like. And I just feel like it's like a tragic story of being the product of what is happening around you that you have no control over. So let me back up a little bit. I was reminded of two fundamental beliefs that I have as a person. Well, maybe not two fundamental beliefs, but one fundamental belief and then like one observation. So one of the things that I truly believe as a person is that, unlike games, in real life, someone doesn't have to lose in order for you to win. You can call me optimistic, you can call that naive, idealistic, whatever, but I truly believe that. And I feel like if you are in a situation where it feels like there has to be a winner and a loser, then I really do feel like it's just about being creative to create another outcome where there are two winners. That is hard, right? Like, being creative, being resourceful, and trying to forge a path or find an option that does not currently exist with the cards that you're dealt with is hard. And that's why it's so much easier to just resign to losing, or resign to, you know, this is what's in front of me, I'll just settle for whatever. So that's one of my fundamental beliefs. The other thing is that if Earth was presented with some kind of apocalyptic situation where, you know, this was the end, and it's a truly like existential threat to humans as a whole, I would totally bet my money on a society like Eorzea totally existing. Like, I wouldn't want it to. I would hope that humans would work together to make it so that as many people could survive as possible. But if I were a betting person, I would bet that there totally would be some kind of society that would resign to the circumstances, like, we are screwed, so we are just going to create our little oasis here, and we only have, you know, X amount of resources for X amount of people. No one else is allowed, and we are just going to protect this with all we've got. Screw everybody else. I would totally bet that something like this would exist. And that's why Eorzea just really gives me the creeps, and Vothry really gives me the creeps, because I really do feel like if you just followed one of the threads of the future of Earth, it could totally be that. And so right there, I found it so interesting that the protagonist in Shadowbringers, the contrast to Vothry, is the Crystal Exarch, right? Because he's literally the opposite. He's like, we are going to build a society where everyone can survive as long as they put in the work. They you know, go out of their way to not only support themselves but each other. Like, it's about paying it forward. The Crystal Tower is a symbol of hope. Like, we will do our best to make it so that as many people can survive. It's just such a contrast to Lord Vothri. And so as you're interacting with both of them in the world of Norvrant, it's almost like the Crystal Exarch becomes more and more of a good guy, and Lord Vothri becomes more and more of a bad guy. Eulmore's so freaking scary because, like, the culture starts from the top, and if people buy into it, that is their way of life. That is their reality. So if someone from the outside's like, how do you not see what is wrong with this? To them, they don't know any other way. Like, they literally do not know any other way. And especially in Eulmore, where everyone is thriving, everyone's having a great time. Like, literally, they're probably living their best life even pre-flood, right? Like, they're just vibing. And here we are as the outsiders, like, don't you see what's wrong with this? No, of course they don't. We are the ones who are crazy. Like, what are you talking about? There's absolutely nothing wrong here. If anything, wouldn't you want to be here? Wouldn't you want to, do the lottery system and get your ticket in? Like, we're lucky and we want to keep this way. We want to protect this because heck yeah, like, everything is good. There's nothing to complain about. They've never known suffering. They've probably never been outside the walls. They've just heard stories of, like, if you leave, you just die. Look, why would you want to leave? Any threat, any opportunity that risks their world that they are so happy in, healthy in, protected in, of course, like, that is the thing that you are going to try to destroy because you are a threat, right? And then you have Lord Vothri, who from birth has been like, you are the savior. The world is over. Like, the only thing that is going to survive is Eulmore, and you are going to be the one that leads these people to whatever salvation. Like, of course they worship Lord Vothri like a god. He is doing something that no one else can to protect them. It's so like, it's tragic. I feel so like creeped out about it, For Lord Vothri, it's like both nature and nurture, right? Because he is born with a superpower, being half sin eater. Say you could fly, right? And you knew you could fly, no one else could fly. Like, immediately you're going to think like, wow, I'm different, right? Like, I'm special. There's something special about me. And in that world, in Norvrant, where you can control the things that are attacking everybody else, like, that's quite the superpower in that world. Combine that with the nurture part, right? Like, from birth, all your parental figures, all the adults around you, every single person around you is telling you that you are special, you are the savior, you are the one who is a god, you are the one who is going to save us, you are doing something, you are going to do something that only you can. It's total ignorance, right? Like, it is total ignorance, but who is to blame for that ignorance? That's the part that just like, I just feel so bad for you, Lord Vothri, because like, it's just so sad. So this is when we first meet Lord Vothri. And again, when we meet him, it's like,
that's him. That's Vothri.
Yeah, that's the same reaction I had. Just, whoa. There's a couple red flags immediately that we see.
He's attended by sin eaters. But how does he keep them from attacking?
And this, as the first interaction, like, he's just ordering this person to kill himself right in front of him,
Ashia, what happened to you?
Definitely paints Vothri in a very evil light.
Impudent louts. I do not recall requesting their presence.
Lord Vothri, what is the meaning of this? Why is this poor man bleeding to death on your floor?
This is a side note, but I cannot believe that Alphino would just like barge into this king's room with his followers there and just question his authority in front of everybody. Like, with the guy bleeding on the floor. I would be terrified to say anything. And I think that honestly the reason why Alphinaud's head doesn't just get chopped off immediately here is because Lord Vothry is so confused at the fact that someone is questioning his authority to begin with. It's probably never happened in his entire life.
I ordered that he fling himself from the balcony. And he had the temerity to weep.
Okay, so you ordered this totally innocent dude to jump off the balcony. Why are these people just standing here? Like, why are people letting this happen? Like, how are people okay with this? That's when, like, okay, I get that Lord Vothry is clearly a bad guy, but there are several people enabling this behavior, supporting this behavior, not questioning this behavior. And, you know, that's when you start to think, like, hold up, like, it's not just Lord Vothry. There's something else happening here.
Sin Eaters are part of Yulmore's society, but they must be fed with ether. Living ether. So, I demanded an offering of flesh, carved by his own hand, from his own hide. And still, he could not do as I asked.
And upon first impression, right? Again, we're like, you are psycho. Like, you're just psycho. You're like, everyone's cool with him just telling this dude to do this. Like, this is absolutely crazy. But when you think of it, like, this is Yulmore's way of life. This is normal to them. They understand and believe that this is what is necessary to survive. And that's the reason why they're not questioning it at all. Why they're not batting an eye. Oh, it's so creepy.
'Tis true that Kaishir won his place here by fraud, but his actions were driven only by a desire to share in your paradise. That you would cast him out I could almost accept, but to humiliate him thus, to demand his very life? Is this truly the way of Yulmore?
Yes. Look at them.
Oh, you dim, deluded child.
See?
Have you ever paused to consider what it takes to maintain such a paradise in this barren, broken world of ours?
It's crazy because it's like, in this room, Alphinaud is the deluded one. Totally. And it's so weird, like, as the player to be like, what are you talking about? Like, we are the good guys. We are the good guys. And it's so obvious. It's such a stark contrast that you are the bad guy. And then he's telling us that we're delusional.
The guarantee of safety and stability. The knowledge that if one only abides by the rules, one has naught to fear.
Isn't that what we are also doing? In the name of safety and stability, we are going to great lengths. We are killing people also. You know, we are going to war. I can imagine the Yulmorians and Lord Vothry having the same shock and confusion that we have for them, but like he and they have it for us, because it's like, how do you not see that this is the way to survival? And just like seeing those two things come up against each other is just all throughout Shadowbringers. Again, like Lord Vothry versus Crystal Exarch, and, you know, the Crystarium versus Yulmore. It's just so interesting how they're almost two sides of the same coin.
I alone can offer these things, for I alone can command the Sin Eaters. And thus am I alone the voice of justice, and any who oppose me, villains to be punished.
Enabling. Literally standing ovation. When I first watched this, it's like confusion, right? Like, why are they clapping? Why is he yelling? It's just gross. You're just this gross person who is super entitled and, you know, it's just like tyrannical, like a tyrant, right? That's how he first comes off. But then you think like the reason why he's throwing a tantrum is that he cannot believe that his authority is being questioned. Like it is that shocking that he is pissed.
And people call this paradise.
Yes, because it is. Even this, right? Like, you would think that in a throne room, I would think that rulers design their throne room to, like, exude power, right? Like, here's my throne. It's decorated. It's meant to convey, like, you know, this is the seat of power and stuff like that. And on first impression, you think like, wow, this fool has like sin eaters as pets, right? Like, you know, I have a dog. He's got a sin eater hanging out there, and you think that this is like him showing his power. But honestly, like, I can believe that as a kid, he did have a pet sin eater, and this is just where his pet hangs out. Like, it's not like I'm trying to show off my power. It's so ingrained into the way of life that, like, they do not see anything wrong with this situation. And when we come in, it's like, what the heck? Oh, man. Here's Alphino just asking for it. Oh, my gosh.
Who gave you permission to tend to that criminal's wounds? I told you to paint me a picture!
What you need is a mirror, not a painting. It will capture the horror I see before me far better than I ever could.
What horror? What horror are you talking about? Alphino?
Can you walk? I think so.
Just watching this over, I'm like, who wouldn't be so freaking pissed, right? Like, as Lord Vatri, I can see why this is how this scene continues. Look at him. He's in shock.
Did that little worm just insult me?
Right? Look at him. And just to top off the tragedy, it breaks my heart. So Lord Vathri's final form is a light warden. He's the final light warden, and his name is Innocence. And it's just like, I just feel so bad because his essence, right? Like, if you get down to the core of Lord Vathri, he believes that he is innocent, and his innocent essence, right? Like, as a kid, the kid who doesn't know right from wrong yet, who is figuring out like what their values are and all of that, and you understand the environment that they grew up in, I can't help but feel pity for what at its core is just an innocent kid. He had no choice. He was told that everything he was doing was right. He was told that he was doing this righteous thing, this noble thing to save others, to save people. Literally to the very end, he's confused because his whole reality has just been one way. And for these bad guys, right, for the Scions, for us, for these bad guys to tear all that down, he's confused to the very end because he just doesn't understand. Like, he literally cannot compute why it's all falling apart, why there are people questioning him, why they think that their plan is going to be better than the one that he was born to uphold. And it's crazy because he's like, look at this.
Am I cast down?
His form is beautiful. His form is not the, like, you know, overindulgent Lord Vathri. If you showed what innocence looks like to someone who's never played Final Fantasy XIV, I would think that they would say like, oh, that's one of the good guys, right? He's covered in gold. He's beautiful. He almost is now the epitome of what like an ideal human is to them, right? Like he looks perfect. And I think that innocence, right, this enemy is how he views himself. As I just feel so bad.
But it is you!
Look at that.
The villains! Father told me
Ugh.
that I am hope. I am righteousness. That I am a god. That is why I was born. As man and sin eater both.
And see, like at this moment, I just feel bad because it's almost like we killed a kid, right? Like we killed innocence. It reminds me of Lys and Fordola, right? Because Fordola also did bad things in the name of what she believed to be the best path. But what Lys did, instead of kill Fordola, is gave her another chance. We did not give Lord Vothri Innocence another chance. And, you know, obviously we couldn't have because he's a sin eater at the end of the day. But, like, we just killed him. We decided that that was the judgment that they deserved. And this is just us looking at what we did.
Help me! Damn you! I am your god!
Oh, all the way to the very end. It's interesting because this is all happening in Shadowbringers, and we're realizing that light doesn't always necessarily mean good, and darkness doesn't necessarily always mean evil. It can be flipped. And so imagine in Innocence's and Lord Vothri's eyes that we are the Shadowbringers. We are bringing the darkness, and he is the light. So he sees himself as the good guy. We're the evil ones, and we defeated him. And his very last thing that he sees is us just towering over him, and then he fades away. Oh, it's so freaking tragic. And I think that's the reason why he leaves so much of an impression on me in terms of an antagonist, because he doesn't seem that far from reality. I can see how people who just are a product of their circumstances end up taking actions because that's what they think is best. And it's hard because you're just like, you know, who is the one to decide what's right and wrong? If we are at an apocalyptic stage and everyone is faced with the reality that not everyone is going to survive. Like, we have just accepted that as fact. And you have the opportunity to create a society that can carry on the next generation, but at the sacrifice of not letting everybody in, right? Like, you just have to keep it to a small amount of people so that there are enough resources for the people in there. It's always interesting because I think this theme comes up a lot in science fiction and fantasy, and it's interesting to have seen that in Final Fantasy XIV against the contrast of the Crystal Exarch and the Crystarium and the Scions, and like, you know, it's just, I felt like it was such a conflict in a way that obviously left an impression on me, which is why I'm making this video. I don't even know how to end this video. I feel like we need a palette cleanser because I felt like that was very dark. I have an idea. Ooh. Okay. This is Finley, our 2-year-old corgi. Hi, Finley. Do you like Final Fantasy XIV? No, he does not like it. All right, everyone. We will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.